So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the militate parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
Thank you. And just one more, if I may, on just everything sort of we've seen so far with the president's response to the LA protests. There is criticism that seems to suggest that the president responded the way he did because it was a deliberate, calculated attempt to sort of shift focus away from his feud with Musk. How would you respond to that?
That the president responded to the LA riots, condemning the violence
from Musk.
That's an incredibly disingenuous attack. The president saw images of Border Patrol and ICE agents being hailed with rocks and Molotov cocktails. He saw vehicles being burned to the ground with illegal aliens flying foreign flags, and that's what prompted the president to have this response that has clearly worked, because last night in Los Angeles you didn't see many of those images. And I would add the governor and the mayor need to actually do more. I know Gavin Newsom had a big address to the nation last night. I guess he thought that's what it was for maybe his future political ambitions, but he spoke a lot of words. We haven't seen action. California has been a mess for years because of the incompetence of Gavin Newsom, so the president was responding to that. President Trump was in contact with Governor Gavin Newsom despite some of the claims he's made in the last couple of days. The president called the governor on Friday evening and told him to let law enforcement in California do their jobs. And the Los Angeles Police Department, by the way, are fantastic people. They are trying to do the work that they've so bravely signed up to do, to enforce the law. But they have been kneecapped by incompetent Democrat policies and Democrat politicians who do not allow their local law enforcement to correspond and coordinate with federal immigration authorities. And so the president gave Gavin Newsom a warning and said, get it together. 24 hours later, we saw more images like this. We heard about Border Patrol agents who were being the target of rocks. These illegal criminals were throwing rocks at our Border Patrol and ICE agents, and so the president made the decision to federalize California's National Guard.
You were just asked about the First Amendment rights issues. In the president's comments yesterday, though, he just said protesters would be strongly dealt with. In your list before, you referred to insurrectionists, rioters, and protesters together. Obviously, they're quite different from your earlier answer. I'm struck by the fact that the president has not at any point said the most important thing here is to protect the First Amendment rights of peaceful protesters. So I'm wondering, where in his hierarchy of interests does he place that? Is the First Amendment protection the most important? Is stopping violence most important? Why is he not out saying all peaceful protesters will be protected?
I think two things can be important at the same time. And the president, as I just answered, supports the right of Americans to peacefully protest. He supports the First Amendment. But that is not the majority of the behavior that we have seen taking place in Los Angeles. We have seen mobs of violent rioters and agitators assaulting law enforcement officers, assaulting our federal immigration authorities. And we have seen, as I said, this goes back to what this administration is trying to do and accomplish, and that's enforcing law and order in our nation's communities. And it's removing public safety threats from communities in Los Angeles.
You're saying the majority have not been peaceful, the majority have been violent.
I just read for you the arrest numbers. We've arrested nearly 400 illegal aliens alone, just illegal aliens who have been arrested in these riots since June 6th. 6th since they began.
Thousands of people on the streets.
Yeah, and we've had hundreds of people who have assaulted law enforcement officers. Are you saying that that's that's appropriate behavior?
No,
Are you
no,
saying
I'm not
that
saying
the
that at
president
all. I'm
shouldn't
just
take
trying to
action?
figure out-
The Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor of Los Angeles have failed their citizens. And the majority of Americans, the majority of Californians, do not want to see law enforcement officers being assaulted in the streets. And thankfully, the president took action and stepped in to protect our federal law enforcement agents, to protect federal buildings, to protect the federal mission of deporting illegal criminals off of our streets. And that mission will continue every day as far as we're concerned.
The White House says criminals involved in US anti-immigration raid protests will be held responsible as demonstrations in Los Angeles enter a 6th day. A curfew was implemented in the city yesterday in a bid to cool tension and prevent looting from taking place. Maribel Gonzalez has the details.
Parts of the downtown Los Angeles area, including where we're standing right now, are currently under curfew. That curfew began at 8 p.m. local time last night, and Los Angeles Police Department making mass arrests following that emergency order. Thousands are taking to the streets across the country to protest immigration and customs enforcement. The epicenter is in Los Angeles. City officials say the vast majority of demonstrators here are following the law.
When these peaceful rallies end and the protesters head home, another element moves in.
Officials say more than 20 LA businesses have been looted, and a small part of the city had a curfew Tuesday night.
I would appeal to the president to stop the ICE raids so that we can have stability in our city.
National Guard members are in LA against the governor's wishes. A U.S. official says hundreds of Marines the president mobilized have been briefed on rules for use of force on American soil.
We do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in LA, not in California, not anywhere.
Other demonstrations have been in Washington, Boston, Atlanta, Denver, Milwaukee, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, and more. The White House says undocumented immigrants broke the law by entering the U.S. illegally. Demonstrators say ICE shouldn't go after those who are otherwise law-abiding. That curfew will extend until 6 a.m. local time. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says the curfew order will be in effect at least for a few days. Now, as far as the Marines deployed to the area, we're told they are standing by outside of Los Angeles awaiting orders.